In central Mexico, there is a city that nobody built. At least, no civilization we know of. Teotihuacan. When the Aztecs arrived in the Valley of Mexico in the 13th century, the city was already there, abandoned, silent, but intact. The Aztecs didn't know who had built it. They asked local peoples. Nobody knew. So they came to the only explanation that made sense to them. It was the gods, and they gave the city the name we still use today. Teotihuacan, the place where men became gods. The largest city in the Western world at its peak, with a population of 150,000 to 200,000 people, with pyramids that rival those of Egypt, with an urban planning system that modern engineering still studies, and without a single identified ruler, no statues of kings, no inscriptions glorifying a leader, no royal tombs found. Who governed Teotihuacan, and who built it, before all the peoples who later inhabited it? Teotihuacan was built around the 1st century AD, and at its peak, between 400 and 600 AD, it was the 6th largest city in the world, larger than Rome at that time, larger than any city in the Americas for over 1,000 years. The numbers. The Pyramid of the Sun stands 65 meters tall with a base of 225 meters per side. The base is almost identical to the Great Pyramid of Giza, with a difference of less than 1%. This is not an engineering coincidence. It is a deliberate choice of dimensions. The Pyramid of the Moon stands 43 meters tall, and when viewed from the Avenue of the Dead, it appears to be exactly the same height as the Pyramid of the Sun. It's an optical illusion calculated to millimeter precision. Someone knew exactly what they were doing. The Avenue of the Dead, the city's main street, is almost 5 kilometers long. Aligned with the rising point of the Pleiades on the horizon, a star cluster sacred to many ancient cultures around the world. The impossible alignments. The Pyramid of the Sun is aligned with the exact point where the sun sets during the summer solstice. Twice a year, in May and August, the sun rises directly in front of the pyramid, creating a specific visual effect that can only be seen from one exact point on the Avenue of the Dead. This required astronomical observations over decades, perhaps centuries, and urban planning that started with the astronomical alignments and built the city around them, not the other way around. The water system. Teotihuacan had a sophisticated water channeling system, underground canals that distributed water throughout the city, with hydraulic techniques not seen again in the Americas until much later, and that resemble, strangely, systems found in Mesopotamian cities and the Indus Valley, in places with no confirmed contact with Mexico. The mica in the subsoil. In 1906, during excavations, large mica sheets were found buried in the city's subsoil. The nearest mica comes from Brazil, over 3,000 kilometers away. Mica has no obvious decorative function, but it has one specific property. It is an excellent electrical and thermal insulator. It is used today in semiconductor technology and high-precision electronic equipment. Why would a 2,000-year-old city need tons of electrical insulator in its subsoil? Nobody has a satisfactory answer. And academia prefers not to ask the question. Here is what makes Teotihuacan truly unique. All the great ancient civilizations we know share one characteristic: an identifiable central ruler. Egypt has pharaohs with names, faces and monumental tombs. Sumer has kings, listed by name and length of reign in the Sumerian king list. Rome has emperors, with coins, statues and inscriptions on every public building. The Maya have rulers, documented in reliefs and inscriptions with precise dates. The Aztecs have Tlatoani, leaders whose names and deeds were meticulously recorded. Teotihuacan has none of this. What we haven't found? Not a single statue of an identified ruler in the entire city. No inscription glorifying a specific leader. No royal tomb comparable to other civilizations of the same period. No developed writing system that allows identifying leaders' names. Over a century of excavations, no pharaoh of Teotihuacan. What we found instead? Art depicting collective figures, not heroic individuals. Communal rituals, not elite ceremonies. an urban organization that suggests extraordinary centralized planning, but without a visible center. Well-built community apartments, not elite palaces separated from the people, as if the city had been designed for a population, not to glorify a ruler. The theocracy theory. Some archaeologists propose that Teotihuacan was governed by a collective priestly class. No single king. Power shared among temple guardians. It's possible. But it doesn't explain the extraordinary precision of urban planning, nor the scale of construction, nor the advanced astronomical knowledge. A priestly class would have left records, would have glorified their gods with specific names and faces. Teotihuacan doesn't have that. It has structures, it has alignments, it has technology, but no identification. As if whoever governed didn't need to be identified, because they were already known in a way that went beyond stone inscriptions. The Aztecs were a people who understood power and authority very well. They built their own empire on war and tribute, and when they arrived at Teotihuacan, they stepped back. They went there on pilgrimage, in silence, in reverence, as if the city was sacred in a way that transcended politics, as if whoever had built it was of a different order from ordinary humans. There is a comparison that conventional archaeologists resist making, but which is hard to ignore. The pyramids, the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan and the Great Pyramid of Giza have almost identical bases, both oriented to cardinal points, both with internal chambers of debated function, both aligned with astronomical precision, both without a confirmed royal tomb inside. The Orion alignments. Robert Bauval demonstrated that the three pyramids of Giza align with the three stars of Orion's belt as they appeared in 10 to 500 BC. Researchers who studied Teotihuacan identified similar alignments with specific constellations, the same astronomical obsession. On two different continents. The serpent, in Egypt, the divine serpent on the pharaoh's crown. In Teotihuacan, the temple of Quetzalcoatl, covered in feathered serpent sculptures. The same symbol, the same central position in religion and power, in cultures that should never have had contact. The conventional explanation, independent parallel development. Humans in different parts of the world reaching the same solutions for the same problems. The alternative explanation, a common source, a prior civilization that influenced both Egypt and the Americas. That sent the same knowledge, astronomy, mathematics, monumental architecture, serpent symbolism, to both sides of the ocean, before the Younger Dryas, before the flood. The Aztecs knew Teotihuacan was the work of gods. Maybe they were more right than they knew. In 2003, heavy rains opened a hole in Teotihuacan's ground and revealed something nobody knew was there. A tunnel, perfectly built, 103 meters long, perfectly circular in cross-section, leading directly beneath the temple of the feathered serpent. The excavations took years, and what they found inside changed everything we knew about Teotihuacan. What was in the tunnel? Tens of thousands of ritual objects, figurines, jewelry, ritual remains, pyrite spheres with surfaces that reflect like mirrors, distributed across the floor in a way that created the visual effect of a starry sky when illuminated. Liquid mercury, distributed through several tunnel chambers. Quartz crystals, yellow powder of radioactive mineral. Sculptures of great sophistication. The mercury is particularly disturbing. Liquid mercury was also found in Mesoamerican royal tombs and, in another impossible connection, in archaeological contexts in ancient China. And there are references to mercury in Vedic Indian texts about mythical aircraft called vimanas. In cultures without contact, the same material, in the same ritual and technological contexts. What the tunnel didn't have: no ruler's tomb, no sarcophagus, no mummy, no funerary chamber. The tunnel seems to have been built not to bury someone, but for another purpose, a purpose we still don't understand. Teotihuacan was built by someone who knew advanced astronomy, who knew the sacred geometry of Egypt, who used mica as insulator and mercury in rituals, who didn't need a visible ruler, because their authority came from elsewhere. The Aztecs called it the place where men became gods. Maybe it wasn't men who became gods. Maybe it was gods who became men. And after building what they needed to build, they left, as they always leave. Coming soon, the complete documentary. Olmecs, Maya, Teotihuacan, everything connected in a single narrative, with exclusive content that didn't appear in any of the episodes. Subscribe so you don't miss it.